What's going on, guys? Kulprit here, and today we're going to take a focused look at the weapons in Battlefield 4. I'm going to do my first weapon tier list. We're going to focus today on the assault rifles. The plan is to do this tier list first, then do a second tier list on the carbine class, and then I'm probably going to do a third tier list combining the two and kind of showing you how I think they all stack up with each other. I do plan to do an LMG list as well. Those are the kind of weapon classes that I'm comfortable with, that I played a lot, and I feel comfortable giving you my opinion. I haven't used PDWs that often, or shotguns, or snipers, or DMR, so I don't know if those will happen or not. But we'll see how my gameplay tends to go in the future. But for now, look forward to the assault class today, the carbine class at a future date, LMG class, and then we'll probably do a combined assault rifle and carbine class to kind of put them all together and see how they stack up. Now, I should say right out of the start, the whole objective of this type of a video is to stimulate discussion, stimulate debate. So please feel free to share with me your thoughts in the comments. Agree, disagree. I know some of you are going to disagree with some of these. These are based on my personal preferences and my personal recommendations to you guys in Battlefield 4. Again, highlight personal. It's my viewpoint. Please share with me your viewpoint, what you agree, what you disagree with. If you're a YouTuber, you want to make another list, your own, please link it to me. I'll take a look at it. I'll comment on it, share it. All those types of things. Let's get a debate going here. Let's talk weapons. It's a lot of fun. It reminds me of talking kind of sports and stuff where you debate back and forth. Weapons in an FPS are always going to be debated upon, so let's have some fun doing it. Keep it mature, though, like always. So let me break down the tiers for you. Tier 1 is kind of your God gun class. These are the high utility weapons. They have a lot of strengths. They have very few weaknesses. Basically, you could use these guns in any mode, on any map, in any engagement. Tier 2 would be more your niche weapons. They have a lot of strengths used in their role. They'll have a good advantage if you use them appropriately, but you will have a slight disadvantage in certain modes, certain maps, and certain engagements. Tier 3 is kind of the tier that I don't recommend you using these weapons in any mode, any map, or any engagement. Let me be clear here. I'm not saying these are bad weapons. These are just weapons I do not recommend you using. Could be a perfectly fine weapon that fills a certain role, but might just be another weapon in the arsenal that does that job better. So therefore, I don't recommend you use this weapon. Again, I'm not hating on these weapons. I'm not calling them garbage. I guess theoretically there is a tier 4, which would be garbage weapons that you shouldn't even think about using, but I haven't listed anybody in that tier just yet. You guys may. Let me hear it. So without further ado, let's move on. We will start at the bottom and move up. I should indicate that within the tiers there is no ranking. They're put in just randomly. The only ranking here is what tier they're in. These weapons will move. The plan is, as patches come in, or maybe another DLC with new weapons, I will redo the tier list and re-rank them for you again, trying to stem some debate. So tier 3, again, these are the weapons that I do not recommend you using in any map, any mode, or any engagement. They just have too many weaknesses and you'll be at too big a disadvantage using them. First one is the QBZ. It has a very low rate of fire, bad reload. It's kind of stuck in a limbo of roles. It doesn't really do any one role strongly. Again, you'll be at too much of a disadvantage. The FAMAS, this one, you take the insane rate of fire with the low magazine size and terrible reload. That's a really bad combo. It's basically a 1v1 wonder. If you could, predict the enemy's movements and continue to get those 1v1 engagements, giving you time to reload in between, you'll be fine. That's not a realistic goal in Battlefield 4, so I have it down here in tier 3. F2000, the rate of fire for me is almost too high, coupled with a bad reload and a lot of horizontal recoil and first shot recoil, makes this weapon very one-dimensional. You want to run around on the hip on maps like Operation Metro, it'll be perfectly fine. But anytime you try to kind of use it at a medium range, tap fire, everything is stacked against it. The high rate of fire is tough for medium range. It has a bad first shot recoil that kind of limits your tap fire. It's just shoehorned in as kind of a hip fire monster. That's really kind of the role I see for this weapon. Now on the flip side, you have the AK-12. Very low rate of fire and muzzle velocity. It hurts its medium range plus and out. It doesn't really have a strength. It has a pretty good horizontal recoil. That's about the best thing I could say about this rifle. It's a pretty good starter rifle, pretty noob friendly, but as far as using it as a tool to go out and dominate, I don't see that happening. Again, that's why it's in tier 3. The CZ805, it is a master of none. It's kind of doesn't really have a role, doesn't really have a strength, has pretty rough horizontal recoil and very low muzzle velocity. It just kind of lacks a role. It lacks an identity. It lacks a personality. I hope this is one of those weapons they will address because it has potential. They just need to kind of polish it up and give it a real clear role if they will. Until then, you're in tier 3. The SAR-21, really bad rate of fire, makes it really one-dimensional. It can excel at medium and long ranges, don't get me wrong, but you're kind of limited to just those engagements. So while and you can excel in those areas, we do know in Battlefield 4 those opportunities are more limited as opposed to the medium range in. So you're really kind of a one-dimensional weapon here again. And there are other weapons I feel that do that role better, so you're stuck in tier 3. Let's move on to tier 2. Again, this is the weapon class that is kind of a niche weapon. It kind of has very strong advantages at certain styles and roles, but you might have some slight weaknesses if you take those weapons out of those roles, but these are perfectly viable depending on the game mode, map, or engagement. Leading off is the AK-971, and let me first say here, personally, this is the highest kind of debated one for myself. I am not an AEK fan. I do not do very well with the AEK. You could theorize for me that I could even drop this down to a tier 3 for me, but I know there are people out there for you that this would be a tier 1 weapon, and that's great. It opens up a lot of discussion. I have it here ranked as a tier 2. Great medium range in weapon. It's a higher skill needed to manage the recoil at the medium range. Again, that's probably why I don't do very well with it. It has bad empty reload, and it's not as balanced, or it doesn't have as much utility as the other assault rifles in this tier and above. It is kind of the most imbalanced one of this tier, but it does that imbalance so well that it should get consideration. That's why I have it in tier 2. The AUG A3. Now, this is a personal favorite of mine. It's a great medium range weapon. Has really good muzzle velocity and very good distance. It's really good moving accuracy. I like to strafe. I like to move. I like to peek around cover, peek back, and keep firing. This weapon keeps its accuracy while doing that. It's very good. The one caveat to this whole weapon is it has really bad horizontal recoil. Horizontal is the least recoil you like. It's hard to manage in that sense, especially at a longer range, but this is a very good weapon. It's undersung, underappreciated. If you haven't tried it, check it out. It has a certain kind of Achilles heel that I can't make it a tier 1 weapon, but it's a very strong tier 2 weapon, so definitely give it a check. The AR-160, you guys know I've been using this one a lot lately with the Naval Strike DLC dropping. This one is borderline tier 1 for me. It fits my role and my usage very, very well, but again, this is based on my recommendations to you, and I understand it might not fit you guys as perfect. That's why it's a tier 2. It's a great medium range weapon. It has a bit of high vertical recoil, but for me and my usage, that vertical recoil leads to headshots. It just works. I fire center mass, the vertical recoil, even I have a compensator, a muzzle brake, I have an angled foregrip for the tap fire, and I'm compensating on the mouse. I'm not that great at it still. The weapon will still climb just enough. I find I get a lot of headshots with this thing. It's a headshot machine. It's really good. It has really good first shot recoil, which leads very well to the tap fires, what you should be doing with this weapon. All the stats in this weapon synergize together very nicely to fill this medium range role, whereas other weapons, they don't really synergize so well. I've spoken about, so the first shot recoil doesn't fit the tap fire, which is what you should be doing. This weapon, it all synergizes very nicely, smoothly, leads to a very strong medium range weapon. Think of it as a longer range 416, basically. 416 is a little better for closer engagements. AR-160 is a little better for that medium range engagements. Very similar weapons. The L85A2, this is another one I feel some of you guys are definitely going to have in the tier 1. It would have been until they nerfed it just a little bit for me. Now it kind of comes back down to the middle of the pack, sits in tier 2. It's got terrible reloads by comparison. For me, that is really crippling. I get in trouble with this weapon a lot. I get killed reloading quite a bit. That's on me. That's not necessarily the weapon's fault. I know that is there. I should play smarter. If I use this as my primary weapon, as I know some of you do, I'd probably be much better off for it. But for now, I struggle with that, and by comparison, that is a big Achilles heel for it. It does have lots of recoil. It does. It has a lot of horizontal and vertical recoil by comparison. If you're able to control that, you'll be much better off. If it was perfectly fine when it had a higher fire rate, but since they've moved the fire rate back to middle of the pack, 750, this recoil kind of seems a little imbalanced to me. It has very good moving accuracy. Again, moving accuracy is something I do like. I like the strafe, like I said, so this gun is very good for that. This is a very good run and gun medium range weapon. Again, I enjoy this weapon. I do very well with this weapon. This weapon is a solid tier 2 weapon. Again, some of you could easily make a case to moving this up to tier 1. Speaking of tier 1, let's talk about tier 1. I have 3 weapons as now in tier 1. These are kind of, again, your god guns. These are the weapons that have very good advantages in almost all games, all modes, all engagements. If you have a disadvantage with these guns, you're doing something wrong. These are jack of all trades, master of none. They just are very nicely balanced across. You're going to be very well. You can grab this weapon, use it at any time, and feel pretty confident. Leading off is the Ace 23. Again, it's the jack of all trades weapon. It's very similar to the 416, which is also up here in tier 1. It's personal preference between the two, in my opinion. The reload times are the biggest difference between the Ace 23 and the 416. They are both very noob friendly, very easy to use. Probably good guns to start out in and try to master before you move on to other weapons. 416, I'm just going to highlight there. I'm basically mushing these two together. Jack of all trades again. It's a wonderful all-around weapon. Very easy to use. That's why I chose it to use as my rebuilding weapon as I'm trying to rebuild my skills. Very good weapon. Again, it's very similar to the Ace 23. It's just a matter of personal preference. Those reloads are awesome, and I prioritize reloads quite a bit in my game. Great weapon. Both of these, you can grab these weapons anytime you want in any engagement and feel very confident. A little bit of a difference here. Scar H, a big damage model, really good time to kill. You look at the stats, you see slow rate of fire, slow muzzle velocity, you start but that higher damage really makes up for it. You might think on paper that this isn't very good up close. It is fine up close. It will tear through people with that higher damage model. You're going to get in trouble multiple targets, as I've spoken about in my Gun Locker series. It has really good reload as well. It has low magazine size and low ammo pool. That is the Achilles heel on this weapon. It makes it very hard to kill multiple targets, especially up close. Even though you have a good reload, you're going to start out with fewer bullets in your magazine pool because you have one less magazine, and you're gonna have struggles with that. Let me be honest with you. If you have a good support guy running with you, it won't be as big an issue, but this is one of the things that I run into over and over again. Overall, in engagements, it's a very powerful weapon, very good weapon. High recoil for tier 1, but if you can handle that, it's definitely worth it. High damage model, very good first shot recoil, heightens itself to tap fire, which is absolutely what you should be doing with this weapon. Medium range monster, very good weapon all around. You've seen this thing really kind of rise up on the competitive scene to the point now it's being banned out of the competitive scene because too many people are using it and they just feel, given the net code in Battlefield 4, the game almost cannot handle the damage this gun outputs, and people seemingly get one shot killed. Those are my 3 tier 1 weapons: Ace 23, 416, and the Scar H. Let's just highlight tier 2 again is the AEK 971, the AUG A3, the AR 160, and the L85 A2, and finally tier 3 is the SAR 21, CZ 805, AK 12, F2000, FAMAS, QBZ 951B. All these weapons, or most of these weapons, I've done and I've reviewed in my Gun Locker series. You can see the links down below in the description to each specific video. I haven't done them all, but the ones I've done, I'll link. I plan to review them all individually as I get to it. I've just tried to kind of move down the list as much as possible. So, guys, let me know what you think. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? What's your favorite weapon? How would you change up the tiers? I'm really interested to see how you guys re-rank these. Again, if you make videos yourself, please feel free to do this. Do it yourself. I'll check it out. I'll give you my thoughts as well. And like always, guys, I really appreciate the support. Let me know by hitting that like button if you want me to continue to do these. Next on the carbine class, then the LMG class, and then we'll kind of smush together the assault rifles and the carbines, kind of rank them up. It's always fun to do rank lists like this. It always stems a lot of debate. And, you know, guys, I love discussion and debate with you guys down in the comments. So, like always, guys, have a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.